was saying that to me yesterday. We've got lots of gay friends, what's this about?
Yeah.
I agree with the Minister. The number of young people, particularly, who may have a crisis around their sexual orientation, their identity, the people give them a huge hug today. And that's what that's about.
So what do you think, Panty? Would you like to get married in Ireland?
Are you asking, Miriam? Because I believe you're already taken. Sure, why not? If I can find the right fella.
How's it going, folks? We're at it again. We're making some more posters. We actually have a new poster this time. Here, I'll lift it up here and show you. A new slogan. For the unborn, the family in Ireland. Niall Mc Connell, Independent Donegal. What do you think will be the main issues coming up on the doorsteps in Donegal with the election campaign now officially underway? The destruction of rural Ireland, fuel prices and the carbon taxes. Immigration is a large concern of locals. Ireland has the longest hospital waiting list in Europe, and that's an absolute disgrace. Poverty among pensioners who worked all their life to build Ireland, now they are forgotten. What should be the key local priorities for the Donegal constituency in the next Dáil? Making sure our sons and daughters are not forced out of the country through emigration. There has to be an environment created encouraging our sons and daughters to stay in their homeland Donegal.
I was born in Glasgow and I lived there till I was just about 4. My mum and dad emigrated from West Donegal in the early 1960s, and they had to leave and left in the hope of a better future. My dad worked as a labourer on the building sites in Glasgow and here in West Donegal as well. Coming from a family who had to emigrate, who couldn't find work in their own community where they grew up, and had to go to a place where they couldn't speak their first language, and then returning home and having to struggle. I was always very politically aware and was very inspired as a teenager by the writings of Bobby Sands. I started to think why some people like my mum, like my dad, and others around us had to struggle while others are looked after and protected.
Question: why should people vote for you? I promise to put the interests of native Donegal people first. I'm trying to create a positive future for future generations. I promise to save rural Donegal from destruction, opposing the carbon tax and opposing the banning of petrol and diesel engines, which would be the nail in the coffin for rural Donegal. If you had the power to make one thing happen, locally or nationally, what would it be? Answer: overturn the abortion referendum. Amen.
This is another step forward in a more open, tolerant Ireland that's good for all of us.
For those 170,000 women who've had to travel outside the jurisdiction,
yes.
What sort of a message does this vote send to them?
Well, I was out yesterday getting the vote out, and I met a woman with her kids in Coolock, and she said it best. She said, "Today I feel like Ireland is mine again." And now we are in a mature way, in a fair way, accepting the realities of Irish life. So I'm delighted. We've work to do. We've legislation now to get through. I've every confidence that we will. Well done to every single person who made that happen.
And last but not least, this is in the Tyrconnell Tribune. Castlefin-based farmer Niall Mc Connell is running as an independent candidate in the general election. He is running on an anti-immigration plantation and pro-Christian platform.
Jim McLaughlin, is he running in Donegal against you?
Yeah, he's my political enemy.
But I'm astonished to hear the deputy say that it isn't the case that he wants an open door for all to come, because I have in front of me motions passed at the Sinn Féin Ardèche in April 1998, and motion 26, which was passed unanimously, I think, contains the following wording: Sinn Féin will work for the achievement of the optimum position of no restriction on immigration into Ireland. And motion 27 said Sinn Féin deplores all attempts to limit the numbers of political and economic refugees into the country. The optimum position of no restriction on immigration into Ireland. Perhaps the Deputy's party has changed its policy. I wasn't aware that it had.
Uncontrolled mass immigration into the country, complete open borders, Sinn Féin. When the general election was called last week, Mr Connell described it as a stitch-up on YouTube by the elite of the country and planned to give independents like himself as little time as possible to organise a campaign. In the clip, he claimed Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil were putting up candidates' posters 2 hours before the election was called. Notwithstanding that, McConnell said he was undeterred and will be fighting the election. I won't be put off, and I am going to stand up for Irish nationalism. So tell me a little bit about yourself: age, where you live, where you're educated, and what type of farming, marital status. I'm from Castlefin, a sheep farmer, and I have large interest in Gaelic football. I represented Donegal at minor and senior level under Jim McGuinness. I'm a nephew of Donald Reid. I have an honours degree in sound engineering. other interests, sports or other things, Irish history. I come from the area of Maitha, where 9 of the 9 hostages' sons divided Donegal at the top of Crone Hill. I climb it often. Family interest in politics, did they follow a certain political party in the past? We always voted independence because we saw the treachery of the political parties. What political figures, national or international, would you hold in high regard? Red Hugh O'Donnell, Wolfe Tone, Robert Emmet, Padraig Pearse, Dan Breen. How did Leo Varadkar do as leader of the country in your estimation? Leo was never elected by Irish people, he was selected. Why did you decide to run in this election? We now have uncontrolled mass immigration into this country and the Irish people were never asked. 500,000 of our young Irish men and women were forced out of the country in the past 10 years because the importation of foreign labour. They use that. What are key issues that will you highlighting in your campaign? Destruction of the country, crime is out of control, extremely high waiting lists in hospitals, our young men and women forced out of the country to Australia and Canada, etc. Uncontrolled mass immigration is leaving our women and children vulnerable and I plan to stop it. I'm canvassing door to door mostly and I have a leaflet dropped to every household in Donegal. Are you getting any financial support to contest the election? I'm relying on donations from my followers. How do you think you're going to do vote-wise in the election and would you be happy with it? As it's only my first time out and I'm running as an independent, it will be difficult but I'm optimistic. But I hope people give me a chance. What harm could it do? Alright, I went through them really quickly. So what do you think of the articles, folks, in the Donegal Press?
There is a lot of migrants in Ireland and many of them have decided to make Ireland their home. But not many of them have realized that they have the right to get more involved in the Irish society, especially in voting. So starting with my own Chinese community, I realized that maybe somebody needs to start raising the issues. And through poking the holes and trying to find out where are the solutions, where are the people that can talk to us, I realized that we really need to get more involved.
Sometimes those who want to do anything, they don't know where the platform is, where they should begin from. The very first part they should start with is having a voting right. I decided to leave my work aside and went back to college to study the policies making process in Ireland. As I'm getting closer to finish my degree, I'm involving myself more and more in Irish political system. So maybe one day, if I can't make a change, but maybe someday I might be influenced to make that change happen in the near future.
The face of the Irish population is changing. It's becoming so much more diverse and our decision makers and their faces are not reflecting that, and that's not good enough for them or for us. There's not an awful lot of people from different countries running for election yet, so it still takes a lot of courage to put ourselves out there, but you know, give it 1, give it 2, give it 3 more elections. We're going to start pushing those statistics up. Let's make this a home and a welcoming place for all of us.
It was a great experience. They accepted me, they welcomed me. It was a chance for me to raise the voice of my community who didn't have a voice before into those meetings, to raise the migrant issues, the local issues that was affecting my area. This is our country. We need to play an important role into the betterment of this country, and for that you have to have the voice in a political party, in the social, different community sectors. So for that you need to have the power, you need to use your power of vote, and if you want to join any political party, do, and have your voice in that political party.
We can't have Ireland just for the Irish. It has to be, and has always been, a very globalised country. And as we see over like 40 million, 50 million Irish people around the world, we want to make sure that they can vote in their countries as well. So we see ourselves as not only Irish citizens, European citizens, but global citizens as well. And that has to go both ways.